So guest today is Elizabeth Wasunna, who is the Director for Business Banking at Absa Bank Kenya. And she's going to share with us her journey in the banking industry and also share some insights on what can be done to ensure that more women assume leadership positions in the industry. So the first question I'll ask you, Elizabeth, is how did your journey in banking begin?
Thank you very much, Hesbon. And first and foremost, thank you very much again for having me on this particular platform. It is indeed an honor to be able to share a bit about my journey into the banking environment. This takes me back over 20 years ago, just to give you a view of how long I've been in the banking industry. And my first opportunity to join the banking industry was actually in Barclays Bank, Kenya. When I left college, I was lucky to get an opportunity to work as an intern at Barclays Bank in Mombasa. And in Mombasa, I got an opportunity also to work in the different departments, and I worked in the different branches. I worked in Moi Avenue, Digo Road branch, Nkrumah branch, but also out of Mombasa, I worked at the different towns. So I worked in Malindi, went to the South Coast, Diani branch, got a chance to go to Voi branch. So let's just say I got a wholesome opportunity to be exposed to the banking domain. And that was my first opportunity at an employment. So my idea was to first and foremost try and see whether I fitted in or I liked it, and then figure out what I wanted to do. But 20 years plus later, I can tell you I fell in love with banking. I fell in love with the environment that we work in, and here I am today. So Barclays was my first employer as an intern, but 20 plus years later, I'm back to now the new improved Barclays, which is now Absa Bank PLC Kenya, and happy for the journey that I've had in the banking environment.
Now, the next question I'd like to ask you is based on your experience or tracing back your history, your experience in the industry. What are some of the challenges that come with a career in banking?
Interesting question again, and I think these are some of the things that we tend to not share much with the entrants, the new entrants into the banking industry. And one thing I would say in the banking field is that it takes up, I mean, when you get in, there's a lot that you need to learn. So not that it's a negative challenge, it's a positive challenge. So you come in with an open mind, because banking, it doesn't just cover what you see in the front line. There's a lot more that goes into the background. And therefore the challenge is really to open your mind to learn the different facets of the bank, to have a wholesome view. And this also comes with another challenge, because in the learning, you get sucked in and you end up sometimes having a problem with your work-life balance. And this is not just for the banking for area environment. I think this is a problem that a lot of other environments also, working environments also go through. But I think particularly for bank, because we spend a lot of hours in the bank, you tend not to take care of your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, and therefore the challenges around burnouts are quite significant in the banking fraternity. But I would say that when you know that this is the kind of environment you're in, it's a high pressure environment, because again, remember, we're sales driven. So last year's best performance becomes this year's bare minimum. Again, that is a challenge that you have to always be open to. So how much more can you be able to drive in an environment like this? A third challenge that I'd see is that, from the outside domain, a lot of people feel that the banking fraternity is just, around profits, and therefore almost like a negative connotation comes through. But I would say that I think the banking fraternity has done a lot in terms of being able to, be socially responsible. And therefore that challenge to consistently update the environment and what we're doing, be positive in our outlook, is something that I think is a challenge to the environment that we find ourselves today. But I think the first challenge that I mentioned, the work-life balance, being the fact that you have to figure out what that balance means to you. Remember, there's family, there's friends, there's work, there's life beyond the banking area. And so just finding that balance, be it a swinging pendulum, because, as a pendulum swings back and forth, it's also balanced. But also, is it a 50-50 balance, or do you do 50% of your work life one month, 50%? You have to find a balance. to be able to be wholesome, because only when you're whole can you be able to give.
Right, thank you. I think you've traced for us, you've done us for us a picture of what a career in banking looks like. So from your experience now that spans over 20 years, what are some of the most inspiring moments that you say you've had in the course of your career?
Wow, I think every day comes with its own inspirations, but one of the things that really inspires me as I walk through this journey in banking is the fact that you're able to have a positive impact on somebody's life, on a business, and see it grow from, from the birth of an idea into a big business. I think over the years I have been part of a team that supports financing of an idea and seeing it grow year on year, and being able to see it move from an SME into a commercial banking business, into a corporate and investment business. It's always been an inspiration for me, and walking that journey in being able to support as a financial advisor is really an inspiration for me, as an individual doing some of the things that we do today. The other thing that has really inspired me as as I walk this journey is being able to meet the different people with different ideas from different cultures. I've had the benefit of being able to travel around the African continent, and just to be able to interact with, the different economies and the different cultures has really been an inspiration for me. So what I take from there is, how can I be able to transfer back home? What are the positive things that I've been able to see, the positive ideas? There's so many ways to skin a cat. So, I try to see how can I inspire the people that I work with to be bigger, better, more efficient, more effective. And that continues to be an inspiration for me in the banking fraternity.
Now, last week, we were celebrating the World's Women's Day, and this week, this month, actually, the entire month, we are celebrating the World's Women Month. And I think the discussions around this month is what can be done to ensure that more women take up leadership positions across sectors, including the banking sector. So from where you stand, how can the banking industry support more women to take up these roles?
Yeah, thank you very much, Husband. Again, a good question. I would say first and foremost, this year more than any year, I think the opportunity to celebrate the woman in wherever it is that they work, and especially in the banking fraternity, has been awesome. And kudos to every organization that has taken part in that celebration. And I think it's part of the journey that we take as organizations in the drive to ensure that women are empowered, women bring themselves to the table, women know what it takes to be at the table. I think one of the things that I would ask the fraternity is just give women a fair chance. The issue of discrimination is one that we have to avoid in all circumstances. So, and also ensuring that the preconceived biases, of the traditional working environment are really put aside, because some of those things have been over generations. So the fact that women are given a fair, equal chance at being the best that they can be is one that I would, I recommend, because women have their strengths that they bring to the table, and therefore giving them an equal opportunity at the point at which we interview them without any preconceived, ideas would be one of the things that I'd ask for. So one, no discrimination. Two, understanding the role they play in the family structure is important, because we cannot ignore the fact that women have to go, some have to go on maternity leave, some have children, whether it's their own biologically or extended family. We do have responsibilities around supporting our families, and therefore not being penalized over the fact that you have taken time off to go and have children. You have taken time off to take your children you have young children to take them to hospital. Things like that have to be weaved into the conversation we have for women to allow them to be able to perform well. I think the conversation I have with women, especially in an environment like this, is, can you do the job? Yes. Are the targets met within the timelines that we require them? Yes. So whether you work from 1 in the morning, or you work from 8 in the morning to 1 o'clock, achieve your objectives and go and do what you need to do, is something that we need to figure out. How do we make sure that women are included in our conversations and given a fair chance at doing the jobs that traditionally have been held by men? I think the third thing for me is to just make sure that women are edified and empowered, because again, based on tradition and traditional cultural issues, we have always been tend to be secondary in speaking, and so sometimes they have a voice, but they're not loud enough. Just making sure that women are heard, women are listened to, would make a great difference in an organization. And believe me, having worked in Absa for the last 3 years, I would tell you that an organization that listens to women, empowers women, brings them to the table is a better organization all round. So I would encourage, the other banks, the other organizations to really just give women a chance, a fair chance. I'm not saying give them, an unfair chance, lower the grades, just give them a fair chance to be able to sit at the table and get listened to.
Thank you. As a leader in the industry, I think you are an inspiration to so many young women and girls who are in school already. So the question I'd like to ask you, what are some of the tips you will give them, to those young, girls and women who are aspiring to take up a career in banking and become leaders in the industry?
Another fair question, husband. And I would say that it's a journey. It's a journey. And one of the things that even my parents, as I went into banking, taught me and ingrained in us is that hard work pays. So when you go in an industry like this one, where there's issues around integrity, hard work, focus, come in knowing that you are required to put your best foot forward. The thing that I also enjoyed most in my banking journey is that I was able to get a lot of mentors, coaches, support from the fraternity by and large, because I asked. When you come into an environment like this, nobody expects you to have everything. So know that you have the basics. So you have your integrity, you are focused, and you're ready to do the hard work. Then when you're in, ask questions, be inquisitive, be ready to do, over and above what it is that you already been assigned to. So like I mentioned to you at the very beginning, the reason why I got into being given this opportunity to continue growing my career in banking is because I dared to say, can I take on more? Can I learn more? Can I help? And in that doing, I was better rounded in being able to make a decision to move forward in my banking career. So hard work, be focused, have the integrity, love what you do, be passionate about what you do. It just makes waking up much easier to be able to come into the domain every day, to be able to interact with my workmates every day, because I am passionate about what I do for the banking fraternity. So I would think those are the basic things that I would encourage a lot of the young ladies as they think about what they want to do. And it could be anything. It might not be banking that you choose, but if you decide that you want to go into filmmaking, you want to go into the service industry, the food and beverage, whatever industry that you want to go into, just go into it knowing that you're passionate, it's hard work required, focus, and just being driven to meet your objectives.